should really be wearing my Scarlet Witch headpiece for this video. This is a missed opportunity. Hi everyone, my name's Chloe, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here today. Today's video is going to be my Marvelathon round 2 recommendations. So by now, I hope you have all chosen which team you're going to be on. I hope you've all chosen the right team, aka Team New Gen, obviously. And basically today I'm just going to give you some recommendations to meet the prompts that we have in Team New Gen. If you are still on the fence about what team you're going to pick, may I tempt you over to our side? We have a nice variety of prompts, like you can really sort of twist these as much as you want into. Also, like we have the excitement of new things coming out. Like there is a new Ant-Man film that's just come out. There are constantly new things happening in the Marvel universe, so why not go with all this new fresh fun stuff that is happening? Also, it gives you an excuse to treat yourself to more books, because our extra prompt involves reading a newly acquired book. And like, I know we all want to get to our backlist books, I know that that's a thing, but you know, sometimes you just want to treat yourself. So if you want an excuse to treat yourself, join our team and you can get that new book and you can actually read it straight away, and then you'll feel really, really accomplished. Right, I'm going to stop trying to tempt you over to our team now. Although actually, no I'm not, because I'm going to tell you some really cool books that you can read to fit our prompts. So I should really say, Marvelathon is a readathon which is created by Lisa from Lisa Does Life. She is unfortunately on the wrong team, so that's all I'm going to mention of her right now. I mean, she's done a fantastic job of setting this all up, but like, I'm not on her team, so you know. I'm only going to give her so much credit. On my team, we do have some other team captains. We're not sort of all out for ourselves this year. We have combined forces. So on Team New Gen, we have myself representing Scarlet Witch. We have Becca, who is representing Moon Knight. We have Danny, who is representing Groot. We have Meg, who is representing Ant-Man. And we have Liv, who is representing Feeder. I think we have a really good team. It's a nice variety of characters. I'm very much looking forward to next month. And basically for each of our characters, we have all picked a prompt inspired by the character that we've chosen. And if you have made the right decision and picked Team New Gen, for each book you read that fits one of these prompts, you get 100 points. You do still get points if you read books for the other team that I'm not even going to mention their name, but if you pick their prompts, you still get some points. You get 50 points if you read one of those, which I will say some of the books that I picked do double up a little bit for theirs. So, you know, I'm being tactical here. Some of them also double up on prompts that we have for our team. I'm saying our team because you have all made the right decision. We know this. If you've already decided that you're going to be on the other team, it's not too late to change. Like, good, make the right choices, people. I'm gonna stop doing this. Anyway, I've decided with my recommendations. I was looking through and trying to figure out what books I actually want to recommend to you, and there are plenty that could, but I also feel like I just want to talk about some of my favourite books. So you'll have heard about all of these before, but I feel like I haven't spoke about them in a while, because obviously we had like end of last year content, and then sort of start of this year I haven't really been doing that many sit down videos. So I just want to talk about some of my favourites, and it happens to be that quite a lot of them fit with these prompts. So I hope that I can not only inspire you to join the right team, but I can also inspire you to read some of my favourite books if you haven't already. And if you have, why not reread them? Because, you know, rereading generally is easier, so it means you'll be able to fit more books in during the month of March. We need all those points for Team New Gen, because once again, anyone watching this video should be on Team New Gen. How many times am I going to say this in this video? So, the first prompt that we have for Team New Gen is actually my prompt, Scarlet Witch. I really should have, I'm like not prepared at all. Let me just grab my mascot. So this is a new mascot for this year. It's my little mini Scarlet Witch. I'm going to pop her right behind us in the video. But the prompt for Scarlet Witch is alternate reality. So if you have watched, I'm going to try and like not spoil things for Marvel, like films or TV shows in this, but if you've watched any of the newer Marvel films, you'll know that the multiverse is a big thing that is happening at the minute, and also the multiverse is particularly tied in to my character Scarlet Witch. So I picked the prompt to be alternate reality. Now you can stretch these prompts as much as you want to. So alternate reality can be a reality that is very much our world but has like one magical element to it, because that's different. It can also be a complete fantasy world. You can take it however you want, as long as it's not set during like regular life as it could be. It's an alternate reality. The recommendation I'm going to give for this is a little bit like more of an alternate reality. There is definitely magic involved in this, but it's one of my favourite books and I feel like I haven't spoke about it for a while, so I thought I would pick it for this prompt. And that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I like how I'm starting off a prompt video for a Lisa run readathon with a book that Lisa hates, but I absolutely adore this. It's one of my favourite books of all time, as I said. All of these are. I will say, if you haven't read it, don't go into it thinking that it's this big epic competition, because it is about a competition between these two magicians, but it's not like a big epic battle competition. So there is a prompt to do with a battle. That is not what this one is for. It is like a subtle game of one-upmanship is the way I explain it, and it's all about the characters and sort of the relationships within it. It's a very beautiful story. The writing is amazing in this, but it's not this big epic competition that some people think it is going into it, and that's the one piece of warning I can give anyone that is trying to read this book. But if you want something that is just full of beautiful writing and this really lovely story between these two characters, then maybe consider The Night Circus. I said that all of these will work for prompts for the other team as well. I would say that this would work for a book with opposites, because these two characters are in opposition with each other in this competition. You could also, I know it said it's not a big epic battle, but you could still count it for a book with a battle, because there is a competition between these two people. Like, you can't deny it is a competition, no matter how, like, no matter how sort of like calm and small the way the competition plays out is. But yeah, I think this will fit a few prompts. It also kind of fits for a dark book, because a lot of the colour schemes for it is black and white. You didn't say it had to be dark in terms of the themes in there. It could just be a dark cover, and like this cover definitely fits that. So, you know, stretch it as much as you want. Get all the points for reading The Night Circus. Have a great time doing it. I've already mentioned this prompt that I'm going to go on to next, but this is a prompt for Fina. So this is Liv's prompt, and it is a book with a battle. So I was looking through my shelves again, and a lot of the ones with battles, I was thinking of like last ones in fantasy series, which I didn't really want to recommend a last book in a series, though I will say that there are various read-alongs that are happening during the month of March that would fit for this. So if you are taking part in Christopher Long, we are going to be up to the third book of the Nevernight trilogy, which is Dark Dawn. That would fit for this. Final books in fantasy series pretty much always fit for this. I believe the By the Angel along is up to, I want to say it's Queen of Air and Darkness, please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's whichever one is last in that. It started with Lady Midnight, I think, and then there's another one in the middle that I can't remember the name of, and then there's Queen of Air and Darkness, I think. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but that one, I know Becca put that in her recommendations video, so that would also count. I believe Schwabalong will be reading Our Dark Duet, which, yeah, is sort of the culmination of a battle that's been going on. They would all work for this. So basically any end of any type of fantasy series tends to work for this. I'm going to go for something that is a little bit less of that type of battle, because I decided again I just want to go with some of my favourites, and I didn't want to recommend a last book in a series as my main recommendation for this. So I'm going to go for one that, like, in the strictest sense does meet this, but also I will explain it for anyone who doesn't understand. It is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. So The Song of Achilles is a Greek myth retelling, and it is the story of Achilles and Patroclus, and a large part of it takes place during the Trojan War. So, you know, Helen of Troy faced that launched 1,000 ships, like the whole thing with the Trojan horse to sneak the soldiers in to fight the battle. There is a war going on. Like, a war is very, very pivotal to this book. It's one of those where the book is like more about the characters involved than necessarily the battle itself, but the whole Trojan War is very, very much pivotal to this story. So it counts, and this will count for some other prompts as well. So again, spoiling the next prompt, we have a book with wood on the cover, which I'm going to say this instrument on here could definitely be made out of wood. Stretch it however much you need to. For the other team prompt, we've got strong family themes. I would say that like families and who's connected to who and all of that sort of stuff is very prevalent in Greek mythology. So I'm going to say that that would count for this. Also, we do have bonus points. So you get bonus points for disability rep, POC rep, LGBTQIA rep, poll pick, or a book featuring a Marvel character. So this one would definitely work for LGBTQIA rep. Obviously it could work for others, you can put it on a poll if you want to, but yeah, I'm going to recommend Song of Achilles for this one. So again, I've already spoiled the next prompt, but it is a Groot prompt, which is picked by Dana, and it is a book with a tree or wood on the cover. Now, I may be stretching this one slightly, but I was struggling to find things, and also it's not technically stretching it. I will show you, and Lisa did say stretch them. She's literally posted something today saying stretch the prompts as much as you want to. So I'm going to recommend The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab. So like, this is obviously some type of foliage on the front. We've got the forget-me-nots, even though they are white in this. They're blue on the regular cover. Obviously that is more of like a plant than a tree, but allow me to show you the underneath the dust jacket on this particular copy. This has got a tree on it. That is definitely a tree. And I'm just gonna, even if you've not got this particular copy, I am just gonna say that like, this fits the general vibe, whether or not it's a flower or an actual tree. I'm still saying it fits for this prompt. We've been told we can stretch them. And also, like, just Addie LaRue is one of my favourite books. This one is about a girl called Addie who lives like 300 years ago in France, and she basically believes she's just going to have a life where she doesn't really get to do much other than kind of get married, have kids. That's kind of what she's there to do, and not much of anything else. So the opportunities weren't really around in those days. So she decides to, well, she prays to a god, but she's told to never pray to the gods who answer after dark, and unfortunately she does, and she ends up making this deal where she will get the one thing she's asked for, which is more time, but in return everybody that ever meets her will forget her. Like, as soon as they turn their back on her, as soon as a door is closed, they will instantly forget who she is. So she can meet the same person again and again, and every single time they will forget who she is. So she kind of just goes through life very lonely and lost, and then one day she ends up meeting somebody who actually remembers her, and things go from there. That is all I'll ever say for this book, because there's so much more that happens, and it's so beautiful. I love this book so much. I really need to reread it. Maybe I will reread it in March. We will see. The paperback version is coming out, and I may have just bought a ticket to go to a V Schwab event for the paperback release. So, you know, maybe this is encouraging me to read it. In terms of other prompts that this one fits, for the other teen, you could say the main character goes for a transformation, because obviously she does change a fair amount during this many years that she is on Earth, and also like there's just a transformation of this magic happening and people suddenly forgetting who she is. That could count. You could also say it's the main character who does something unexpected, because she does something that is unexpected for people of her time by making this deal and being able to actually kind of have this other life. There is also like another character in here who maybe does some unexpected things that I'm not going to spoil, but I think this could count for that. And again, look at the bonus points. If you want to put it on a poll, you should do what I do during these readathons and just put every single book that you are planning to read up on a poll. So, and it's just deciding which one you're going to read next. And then every single one of them will get that pulpit bonus, but you're still reading the books you actually want to read. It's just maybe not necessarily in the order that you planned. That's how I tend to work it, to get those extra points. Also, as is the theme of this video so far, spoiling the next prompt, mental health rep. This one has it in there. So our next prompt is for the character Moon Knight, is picked by Becca, and this is mental health rep. So I, again, was sort of looking at my shelf, and I'm like, there's so many things that I could pick, but nothing was coming to mind. And then this one jumped out at me because I completely forgot. But there is quite a lot of mental health rep in this, and I forgot about it because it's like a romance that I think of being happy, and it is happy, but also these characters go through some stuff. So I'm going to recommend this one because this is one that I want more people to read, because the other one so far I feel like a lot of people have read. This one I don't hear people talk about as much, and I would very much like more people to read it. So I'm going to recommend to you The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane. So it's about two characters. We've got Dev and we've got Charlie. Dev is a producer on this reality show, which is kind of like The Bachelor. Charlie is the bachelor for that season, and basically when he gets there, Charlie doesn't handle the competition too well, partly to do with the mental health rep that is in here. And he ends up getting given like a handler to help him get through the season, and that handler is Dev, and what ends up happening is that a relationship forms between those two rather than between Charlie and one of the contestants. And there is quite a lot of mental health rep in here actually. So Charlie does struggle quite a lot with anxiety. Like right at the beginning of the book when you meet him, he is basically in the middle of a panic attack, and that kind of carries on throughout the entire book. But then Dev in particular really struggles with mental health, and there's a lot of conversations around that and sort of how other people react to that and acknowledge that throughout this book. And I really loved this book, and I want more people to read it, so I'm going to recommend this. And also spoiling the next prompt, because we're just going to do that throughout this entire video now. Obviously it's become the thing. I would say this is a funny book. There were definitely times that I laughed at this book, so I'm gonna count this one in that. It also works for LGBTQIA rep, obviously it is a male romance. And then again it does work for some of the other team prompts, because again, character going for a transformation, I would say that Charlie in particular goes through quite a lot in this one and kind of comes into his own a lot, and we can count that as transformation. It also counts as main character that does something unexpected, because obviously when he goes on to this reality show, he is expected to end up with one of the female contestants that is vying for his attention. He's not necessarily expected to start a relationship with the male producer instead. So I would say that is an unexpected thing to happen. See, works for so many things. You should all just read The Charm Offensive. And then the last prompt that I have, again, already spoiled. So this is the Ant-Man prompt, which is picked by Meg. And this one is to read a funny book, which obviously that is very subjective. What you find funny may not be what I find funny, and I decided that rather than going with like a rom-com or, you know, something like light and fluffy that had all the fun in it, I mean, I've already mentioned The Charm Offensive, but I decided I wanted to go with something that I personally find quite funny because I like this person's writing style, and this is kind of like a general prompt for this person's writing style actually, and it does fit in if you are taking part in a particular read-along that I am a host of. We will be at the third book in this series, but if you are a little bit behind and you would like to catch up, Nevernight by J. Kristoff. So I particularly like J. Kristoff's writing. I find the sarcasm and the humour in this to be fun. I laugh many times throughout reading these books. These books are also like pretty gruesome and a lot of stuff happens in them, but you know, like, I'm just read the first line, and if you find yourself laughing at the first line, carry on. I feel like that's a good kind of like expectation level of what you're going to get going into this book. But I really love this series. We are going to be up to the third book, as I mentioned, for Christopher Long. So if you are following along, feel free to use Dark Dawn for this prompt. If you do want to catch up, maybe try and binge read the entire series, or if you want to sort of get a head start, we maybe haven't announced it yet, but maybe we will have announced it by the time we get to March, that maybe one of the J. Kristoff Amy Kaufman series, if you could be quite good for you to read in preparation for April. But I will give you no other hints than that at the minute. But if you are wanting to skip Nevernight, but maybe join us in with one of his other series, we are moving on to one of the sci-fi series in April. Spoiler alert there. Sorry to Lisa and Catherine, I didn't clear this with you guys to everyone. I could tell people, but you know, we're the worst at keeping secrets, so why not? So that is everything. That is all my Marvelathon recs. There are plenty more. Like, I could have gone on and giving you lots more examples for each of these prompts, but I thought I'd keep it kind of short and sweet. I say that, I've been recording for like nearly half an hour, so we'll see how much I edit out, but I hope this has given you guys some ideas, thinking about what you could read. I know that most of these books are like quite popular ones, and some of you guys will have already read like all of them on there, but I did just want to talk about some of my favourites as well. I realised I didn't even give you a synopsis of Nevernight. It's about a girl called Mia who witnesses some pretty horrible stuff happening to her family when she's younger. She ends up going to she then ends up going to an assassin school, and the first book is all about her time training there and inevitable things that end up happening, because can you really trust everyone in a school of assassins? No, you can't. Something's gonna go down, you know it is. And I will see you guys soon with a new video. Bye.